Hey Gemini, welcome to your weekly forecast for October 17th through the 23rd. This is for Gemini Sun, Moon, and Rising. You may stumble upon this video after the time frame that I mentioned. That's just fine. You're going to see it whenever you're meant to see it, whenever it's time to hear the messages that are in it. So keep in mind it's a general reading for the collective. Not every single message is going to resonate, and that's okay. Take what does and leave what doesn't. So without further ado, my dears and my darlings, let's see what's coming up here for Gemini Sun, Moon, and Rising. One more shuffle. Alrighty, my dears. Let's see what's going on here for the Gemini collective. We're going to move you all just a little bit closer. And the first card coming up here for our lovely Gemini friends is the Ten of Cups. Well, that's a very positive, happy week ahead. Now, I know a lot of people are used to watching tarot for love and romance. So Ten of Cups is typecast as like marriage and babies and like home life, family life. That can definitely be the case for some of you. I'm not saying that it's not. Some of you may be having some really positive things happening in your home environment. You may be strengthening relationships, and I feel some of you may be moving or adjusting to a move where you're finally starting to feel at home, or it's starting to finally feel like home. Maybe for some of you, you moved like a year ago. I know I moved over a year ago, and it wasn't until this week that I felt like, okay, I feel settled in. And so maybe some of you, I'm not a Gemini and I don't have Gemini placements, but maybe some of you, there may be like a similar thing where you've been in your space for a while now, but something could be happening in the coming week where you're like, this finally feels like home. This finally feels like I'm like putting down some roots. Now, I want to emphasize that the Ten of Cups is really about inner peace and happiness and fulfillment in every aspect and every area of your life. It's the happily ever after. And marriage and babies is not everybody's happily ever after. So when I see Ten of Cups, whatever your happily ever after is, that's what you're manifesting at this time. Some of you already did marriage and babies, and the babies grew up and the babies are off dealing with their babies. And you're like, okay, well, now what do I do? Right? Or some of you would just want to be off the grid, or like whatever it might be. Whatever your happily ever after is, Ten of Cups is telling me you're moving into that. But the strong feeling in the sense that I'm getting is a sense of home. Even if you know where you are right now is not your permanent place. I know where I am right now is not my permanent place, but I feel very at home. I feel very rooted. I feel very grounded. And this is the energy we need to be in to rise up to the permanent thing, to like what it's going to be for the rest of our life or the rest of our time here on this earth. We have to be in the energy of the thing that we're calling in. And so maybe some of you Geminis have been very resistant. You've been like, I don't want to get too settled here. This is just temporary. And now your angels and guides are like, relax, relax, feel at home, give your sense a sense of home, because this is what's going to allow you to call in that bigger home. And I don't necessarily mean bigger in terms of size, although for some of you it could be in terms of size, but a sense of like calling in something more permanent. Okay, that's the feeling and the vibe I'm getting from this Ten of Cups for you all. The next card that's coming up here for Gemini is the Hermit. And this could be Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. If you have a Virgo placements, there could be big changes or big shifts happening for you in those houses or in those areas of your life. Some of you could be dealing with a Virgo that may be very significant for you at this time in your life. Now, let's put Virgo aside here for a moment. The Hermit card is a major arcana card. Major arcana cards are going to come up anytime that we're at a significant like crossroads, new chapter, defining moment. And so it's not an energy that's gonna be wrapped up in 7 days. Whatever's happening in the next 7 days is setting a series of things into motion for you, where you're coming into a new chapter. It's a defining time. It's a defining moment. It's a turning point. And so this could be in terms of spiritual awakening. Some of you are feeling very much like homebodies, and you may be fighting against it, and you may be telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be a homebody. I shouldn't be, like I should go out more. I should be more social. But the Hermit card for me is very much like the little caterpillar that has gone and, you know, was starving and just went through and, munched on all the leaves and the fruits and everything and got its fill. And now it just needs to rest. Now it just needs to chill out. And it goes into its little cocoon and it's just resting. And in that period of rest, the most magical thing happens when all the caterpillar is doing is sleeping, right? It's just chilling, it's just sleeping, it's just relaxing, and it's going through this massive transformation and growing these beautiful wings that are going to forever change its life. Because once the caterpillar comes out of the cocoon, it's going to be a butterfly. And it's going to go places and see things the caterpillar couldn't even have imagined, couldn't even have dreamed up in its little head and its little imagination. And so this is what a lot of you are coming into. It may just be a time where you're telling yourself, oh, I'm being lazy, or oh, I'm being too isolated. But something very powerful is happening here. A positive shift, a positive change, and growth and awakening. Some of you may be stepping into your identity as spiritual teachers and spiritual leaders. In a relationship, friendship, romance, you all may be holding up mirrors to one another, and you're seeing how the relationship is going to be strengthened through common experiences that you've had, common wounds that you may have, what needs healing, and how might be the best way to approach those things. So sometimes the Hermit for me could be a mirror aspect in a relationship as well. Next card coming up here for the Virgo collective is the Three of Swords. Now, you might say, Amethyst, what kind of high, low, hot, and cold roller coaster craziness is this? You're telling me 10 of Cups, you're telling me Hermit, then you're coming at me with the Three of Swords. I knew it. I can't be happy. Always something is going to go wrong. Three of Swords can come up in a very, very different way here, especially with the energies that are coming up before it. Am I being a Pollyanna and I'm going to try to convince you that Three of Swords means you're going to be super happy? Absolutely not. I'm telling you the truth. But we talked about downtime. We talked about you getting cozy. We talked about you getting comfortable. We talked about you resting. And guess what? Sometimes when we're in that stillness, things that we've pushed down begin to come to the surface. So maybe some of you have been working on some really big goals and you've been hustling and you've been grinding and things happened in your life. You had betrayals, you had disappointments, you had people that abandoned you or stabbed you in the back, or they weren't there for you, or they betrayed you in some way and you were hurting. But at the same time, you were like, I can't think about this right now because I need to keep going. Right? I got to pick myself up by the bootstraps and I got to go to work. I got to make sure that the bills are paid. I got to make sure my children are taken care of and they're off to school and they have what they need and they have food and they have clothes and they're being taken care of and they're receiving attention, like whatever it might be. It's just like, I can't stop and cry about this right now. It sucks. I'm furious. I'm hurt, but I got to live. I got to keep a roof over my head. I got to take care of my loved ones. I can't think about this right now. And now guess what? Now you have downtime. You've accomplished certain goals. You've reached certain goals. You have some free time. You have time to rest. You have time to chill. You have time to relax. Some of you, it's as simple as the fact that you live in a climate where this time of year, it gets very cold. And so people aren't out and about. Right? You're spending more time indoors. There's less things to do socially. And it's just being in that space and in that time. Things are going to come to the surface. Things that you didn't have time to deal with. You're like, I can't lay around and be sad about this. Now it's coming to the surface because you have that downtime. You have that sense of stillness. Let it come to the surface and let it out of your system. I know it doesn't feel good to cry about something or to grieve something that has happened in your life. But this is the thing about the Three of Swords. I've said it in previous readings and I'll say it again. In my experience, it can be emotionally difficult. It might hurt. It might sting. It might even feel excruciating. But the beautiful thing about it is, in my experience, what I've seen, it doesn't last very long. It's a quick release. You get it out of your system and then you're like, oh, I feel so much lighter. I feel so much better. Oh, it was so good to get that off my back. So even though the release doesn't feel good, we're not talking about going into a depression for weeks or months or years. It could be for some of you within an hour. It could be for some of you a day or two. But it's not going to be something that's going to linger a long time in terms of release. In my experience, Three of Swords is a quick release. Okay? Um, some of you may even be taking this time that you might have indoors or this downtime to do some journaling, to do some letter writing, to do some inner work, and you may be feeling guided to do that. Don't ignore that. That's coming up for a reason. This is going to be very beneficial for you if you take the time now to do that release work. The next card that's coming up here for Gemini doesn't surprise me at all. The Nine of Swords. So when we have good things that are happening or good things headed our way and we have these disappointments come up, now we're scared. What if I get hurt again? What if I get burned again? Things are finally starting to feel good. Things are finally starting to feel stable. But when's the shoe gonna drop, man? When's the hammer gonna fall? When's the chaos gonna come in? It's not safe. It's not safe for me to be happy. I'm not a lucky person. Things don't go well for me. Or you have this great relationship, this great family, this great home environment, and you're like, when's it gonna go wrong? When are they gonna disappoint me? Or what if I lose this? And we start panicking. We start getting very scared. Nine of Swords reminds us of a couple of things. Our fears may be very possible, and that the things that we're worrying about could actually happen. You're not worried about a made up, like, you're not worried about something that could never happen, right? Like there's the really silly movie Sharknado. It's ridiculous, right? The hurricane picks up the sharks from the ocean, and as it's raining and storming, sharks are unleashed onto New York City and are attacking people. It's ridiculous. You might watch it just kind of as, like cheesy, corny entertainment, but you're not going to be scared and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to New York next week. What if there's a hurricane and I get attacked by a shark while I'm walking down the street? You might have other concerns in New York at this time, but Sharknado is not one of them. So your fears might not be ridiculous. They may not be far-fetched. They may be, and that's what makes them so scary. They're things that could actually happen. But just because it's possible, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And the Nine of Swords says, be careful where you put your focus. Be careful where you put your attention, because you're manifesting right now. And if we keep obsessing about all of the things we're worried about, guess what we're going to manifest? We're going to manifest the things that we're worried about. So Nine of Swords says, okay, let's look at our fears here. What am I scared might go wrong? How much of that scenario is under my control? What could I do to prevent that scary thing from happening? What are steps that I could take to have a more positive outcome? Secondly, in case my efforts don't work out and these fears happen anyway, what are some safety nets? What are some backup plans that I can have put into place so that if it happens anyway, now I have something to fall back on, or now I have a layer of protection? The third layer, we're going to take this up in prayer. God, universe, angels, guides, I'm terrified of these things happening. Here's what I'm doing right now to keep them from happening. If there's anything else that's in my power that I've missed or I haven't thought of, help me to think of it, help me to see it, guide me and direct me. If there's anything else that I can do in the situation, if there's any other backup plans or strategies I can have into place. And I'm asking, please, if it's in the best and highest good of all involved, keep these things from happening. But If for some reason they must happen, thank you for helping me get through them as quickly and as painlessly as possible. And you just surrender it. Surrendering means we do the best that we can, but we let go of the outcome and we just say, I'm going to do my best to head in the direction I want to go in. But however this transpires, however this turns out, is going to be for the best and highest good. And I'm just going to surrender that. I'm going to do what I can, what's in my power, do my best, and let the rest go. And let it work out however it's meant to work out. And be in that place of faith. Some of you might have some decisions to make, or some of you may be feeling vulnerable or really emotional. And the Nine of Swords is saying, make sure you're getting good quality sleep. You might be having insomnia because of your stresses, because of your worries. Do what you can to relax, maybe some natural remedies, maybe some chamomile or lavender tea, maybe a nice relaxing shower or bath before bed. Anything that music that relaxes you, calms you, prayer, meditation, anything that you can do to make sure that you're relaxing and you're getting some good quality sleep, it's going to go a long way for you as you're opening up to receive these things and dealing with the anxiety that comes to the surface when we're scared that things aren't going to be good or things aren't going to last. So you may want to check out your moon sign and rising sign videos. Some weeks your moon sign or rising sign might resonate more than your sun sign. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. Link in the description. 2023 12-month forecasts are available for booking now. I've lowered the price. Usually those go for $175. I'm doing them for $111 this year. I've also lowered the price on the 60-minute video readings and the 30-minute video readings. So if you'd like a private reading, this could be a good time to check that out and see what looks good to you. Come back tomorrow, check out the daily message. But if not, I hope you have a fabulous week. I hope you'll come back and check out next week's forecast. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Have a wonderful week, Gemini. Take care and be well. Bye.